After seeing the series finale of Attack on Titan, I must admit that I was wrong about this show. What I thought was a story about unlikable characters trying to save their comrades was actually a long drawn out tale of the horrors and tragedy of war, centered upon one man, Eren Yeager. Let's talk about the final finale, so here come spoilers. The fight between Eren and the Scout Regiment plus friends was incredible. Fast-paced, non-stop action exploded right from the start, and each character got a much-deserved role in the battle. Armin was captured early on, but Mikasa, Connie, Jean, and Levi all pummeled the artificial titans, which kind of surprised me because there were tons of them. Throughout the entire finale, Eren would talk to people like Armin and Mikasa. There were flashbacks to different moments of their lives, and it really solidified the deep connection between the main trio. I felt like Eren's plans were finally fully explained, and guess what? They actually made sense. Well, kinda. We'll get to that later, I promise. The fight continues, but the Colossal Titan starts to mess some people up. Eren is throwing everything at our heroes, but they never give up fighting. Falco's newly made Titan saves the day with its wings, and they regather for one final attack. Man, that part was crazy. Peak took out hundreds of Titans with her special endurance, Reiner held his own, and Mikasa went back to save Armin. And yes, Levi finally got to kill that jerk, Zeke. I thought Armin's conversation with Zeke was fascinating though. Armin was convinced that the only true happiness was fighting for a world where he could live in peace with his comrades. But Zeke was a nihilist. He did not think that the world meant anything. Rather, he would say that there was no ultimate point to life. Now, if I weren't a Christian, I would totally agree with him, but this world, Attack on Titan, is fictional, so Zeke's existential philosophy is honestly quite logical, in my opinion. But Armin obviously utilizes his sentimentality to persuade Zeke into helping him unite the fallen friends and foes in order to fight back against Eren. I have to say that the dialogue and explanations in this finale were much better than the previous theological concepts discussed in the show. Back to the fighting though. Levi really hated that Zeke dude, right? Jean explodes Eren's neck, and when they thought it couldn't get any worse, a spinal cord thingy was still moving, searching for Eren's head. Eren summons the gas to turn everyone into Titans, and Armin and Eren duke it out as Colossal Titans. Reiner holds the spine thingy back while his friends and mother attack him. It was super sad. I will say that the emotional impact of this story hits a lot harder now that I see everyone fighting together. I don't think I liked the characters at all up until this point because something was missing. The beginning was all about Paradis Island, right? But season 4 transitioned into a war story about the entirety of humanity. I was wrong because I thought this anime was about these three main characters, but it really wasn't. It was about the terrible nature of war and how it breaks everything. It was scaling that little 3 people focus into an entire world of people in war. Friendships, alliances, towns, and even nations are torn apart by that fighting. Ultimately, the theme was the curse of the Titans and how it ruined everyone's lives. You are supposed to feel sad for all characters because they are all fighting against the evils of war. Some people for the Marleyan Empire fight against the so-called subhumans, while the people of the Paradis Island fight for their freedom and acceptance by the rest of the world. The struggle was the fight against all of the wrongdoings and sins of humanity. Did the Empire try to slaughter innocent people on the island? Yes, they did. Did the Jaegerists try to slaughter the mainlanders? Yeah, they did. Were some people caught in the middle and made just some bad choices? Of course. The theme of Attack on Titan is that in the depths of war, it's all gray and there are not any clear winners usually. Obviously, this draws a comparison to real world events. Japan being an island that was supposedly hated by everyone in the world, and so they remained isolated. However, America eventually overtook them and defeated them. In Attack on Titan, there was no clear victor, and Eren just annihilated those people outside of the walls in order to make the two forces equal in number. He exterminated 80% of the mainlanders. He also admitted to Armin that he was going to hell for that. And Armin said that he would be with Eren there soon enough. It's honestly one of the more profound moments in anime. 2 characters accepting their atrocious fate, but it's also weird how Levi and Hanji don't really receive that same destiny. It almost seems like they go to heaven in their world. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but considering how they also killed a lot of people, but nowhere near Eren's death toll, though. As explained in the finale, Eren actually had to commit this atrocity because it was his fate as the attacked Titan. He couldn't couldn't change the future, so he took on the burden of wreaking worldwide havoc, with his only stipulation being that he could make Armin and Mikasa the heroes of the entire planet by killing him. I think that makes sense. If we assume that there really was nothing for Eren to do in order to change the future, then he just had to submit to time, as it was his master. Personally, I like this outcome much more than what I expected. Eren was trapped, and so he did the best he could to give his friends a chance at a better life, even if that life was still filled with tension and wars. I loved how he talked with Mikasa, wishing that he could spend his remaining years with her in peace. Man, that scene where he cried to Armin about loving her and wanting her to pine over him for 10 years after his death, that was truly heartwarming. We finally got to see Eren show his true feelings, and it was very satisfying. This was the perfect blend between the epic historical moments we know and love, but also a much needed emotional wrap up and send off. Maybe I wasn't understanding the point of this series until now, but I finally get why people say this is their favorite anime of all time. It does have a great conclusion, I can definitely say that. As Mikasa chops off Eren's head, she ends the curse of the Titans, and they are all gone. She kisses Eren for the first time, and yeah, it's a disembodied head, but I still think, in my opinion, it's kind of sweet. Armin cries for Eren, and Mikasa goes to bury him properly. We see that 3 years later, nothing really changes. People are still fighting, but at least Armin is fighting with his comrades for peace, as well as Levi finally being able to help out and end his fighting career. Also, we get like 5 ending credit scenes where Mikasa lives her life, visiting Eren all the time, and her descendants visit him too, even after Mikasa dies. Then we see in the background of Eren's tombstone that war just never ends. It will always be present on the earth. And that's the point of Attack on Titan. No matter what people do, there will always be killing. It's a sad thing to see, but this show helps put that terrible reality into perspective. Hey, maybe when 2 countries start a war, there are bad things going on in both nations. I must say that the revamping of the original Attack on Titan song in this finale was fantastic, and this show delivered an amazing end to this long drawn out phenomenon. I thoroughly enjoyed the final episode of the Attack on Titan anime, and so I will say that I now know why it is truly legendary.